The Retroid Pocket 6, what the actual F? I start today's video with a comment from Critic Kanan. In short, they're a Retroid fan because of the D-pad up top that Retroid have stuck with since they started. Then I present Exhibit B, a tweet from the very wise Bob Wolf, who says, one of the reasons I reach for the Retroid these days is that it's one of the only handhelds I have with the D-pad on top. This is exactly why I like Retroid devices. It's the reason why I like the Flip 2. Without this, Retroid fade into the background. The new design they presented was okay, generic but nice with nice colors. The community completely lost their minds once again, which is par for the course with Retroid fans. And strangely, Retroid listened, which is A, incredible for a tech company, and B, completely ridiculous when your audience is made up predominantly, it would seem, of lunatic middle-aged men who spend too much time on websites. The first design they put out wasn't groundbreaking, but it had a quirky PS Vita-esque air about it. And if they're going for the all-glass front everyone has been doing lately, I think the final in real-life product would have been quite lovely. I really like the fact that they brought back the M1 and M2 buttons that were on the original Flip, and I like the fact that those buttons were on the front. A nice retro tactile vibe, much like the PSP. Design is an interesting thing, and like any creative work, when you put it out into the world, people have a negative reaction when it's vastly different to what you have done in the past. I mean, this and the new one is essentially a slab with buttons, mind you. But let's just roll with my analogy for a second. When Taylor Swift put out Life of a Showgirl, I was like, I hate this. Now, I think it's one of her best. An even better example is when Linkin Park released The Emptiness Machine with a female singer. Audible gasp. How dare they? The shame. Initially, I admit I didn't like it, not because it was a yucky girl, but because it was so different. Now? Well, now it's been on repeat for a month and my kids know all the words. Even the naughty ones. Cut to the Retroid Pocket 6. Granted, it is a departure from the curvy slab of the Retroid Pocket 5, but let's face it, rounded ends, black ergonomic bumps, D-pad up top, with some mappable buttons on the front to give a nod to the PSP or PS Vita. Nice. No, according to the Retroid fan club, it was an absolute shitty design. How dare you, Retroid, put the mappable buttons which we asked for in the previous design onto this new one? How dare you put the D-pad up top as you have done for years now? Actually, I just can't go on because the initial design that they presented for the Retroid Pocket 6 was perfectly fine and spoke to the history of the brand. Now I understand why Steve Jobs had more of a we will tell people what they want attitude, because people, and by people I mean Retroid fans, are stupid. I gotta hand it to Retroid. They are the only company that listen to the community this much. And I have been worrying for a while that they listen too much. Retroid have since put out a poll, and what they've done is they've moved the front buttons, the mappable buttons, to the back, and they've put the joystick up at the top. The new design, the new refreshed design from the original launch design is nice, but it's a budget Odin 2 Mini, which I guess is also cool, but there is almost nothing setting it apart. It's just another powerful Android handheld with a joystick up top. Like I said, they're putting the M1 and M2 at the back, and I don't know about you, but I don't think I'm going to use them if they're at the back of the device. Anyway, let's stop to look at the competition. That is, if you're still watching. The Anbernic 557. This is a 5.5-inch AMOLED, which does have PWM, which causes eye strain. It has the joystick up top, not very good joysticks, they don't have a great range of motion. This has the Dimensity 8300 chipset, which is actually very robust, but not so great for Switch emulation. The Aiden Wars quirkiness factor out of 5, I give it a 3 for nice ergonomic bumps, interesting D-pad, and it comes in some cool colors. This thing comes in at $249 when it's not on sale. The Odin 2 Mini, it's a weird 5-inch mini LED screen which has got some quirks. It has the best design of a handheld that I've ever experienced, in my humble opinion. It has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is a reliable, good emulation chipset. And the Aidenwall's quirkiness factor, out of 5, I give it a 4 purely for just an incredible design and these lovely translucent buttons. But this does come in at a hefty $330. I'm going to add the Iron Neo Conker Pocket Fit. It is something that I haven't gotten in the studio yet, but it's a very popular device with other reviewers. And although it is a 6-inch LCD screen, so it's kind of heading into a different category altogether. It's got a joystick up top. It has the 8 Elite chip. Like I said, it's a crowd favorite. The YouTubers are really enjoying it. It has a good Aidenwall's quirkiness factor of 3. It's kind of boring, near perfect device, but it has a bit of a quirk to it. And it is $239 for the early bird price and $299 for the final price. So the price is considerably more than the Retroid Pocket 6, but kind of in this realm of, if you're shopping for the Retroid Pocket 6, you're probably going to consider the Conker Pocket Fit. Now, the Retroid Pocket 6 is a 5.5-inch AMOLED screen, just like the Anbernic. It has a joystick up top now with the new design. It has an 8 Gen 2 chipset, which again is that robust, nice emulation chipset, same as the Thor, which we will get into a little bit later. And the previous design, I would have given it an Aidenwall's quirkiness factor of 3 for the mappable buttons on the front. That's kind of it, really. Oh, and the cool colors. Now, the new design, I guess maybe I'm being a bit nasty here because I'm trying to prove a point, but the Aidenwall's quirkiness factor is a 1 because it just is a very generic looking thing. It looks like the Odin 2 Mini, but with all the quirkiness removed. I think they can increase that quirkiness by giving us some of those lovely clear colors they used to give us, like green, purple, and watermelon. But here is the kicker with the Retroid Pocket 6, even with the redesign that I'm not a big fan of. It comes in at $209 at early bird pricing and $229, which is the cheapest of the lot, for final pricing. So the Retroid is cheaper. It's arguably going to be better than the Anbernic. There's a lot of things about the Anbernic that maybe are inferior. The Anbernic's got good ergonomics though. There are lots of other devices that compete, but I still think the Retroid beats them on price to performance and overall quality. And in comparison to its more expensive handhelds, it does get difficult to recommend when you consider the Thor, which I never added to the list because it really is an entirely different device. But for $249 USD, you basically get a 6-inch Retroid Pocket 6 at the top and a Retroid Pocket Mini V2 with, I think it's the same screen, at the bottom in one device for just a little bit more in price. So when people say this is expensive, now that you see things in perspective, this thing doesn't look so bad anymore. This is kind of hard to argue with, unless the new Retroid had a design that was super enticing, which it doesn't. Which is, unless the new Retroid Pocket 6 has a super enticing design, which after the community has gotten hold of it, it just doesn't. So where should dpad fans go? I think you should go for the RG477M, which is my current personal device for playing NES games. Such a lovely device. It's got a very noisy, shrill sounding fan, but it is really nice for retro gaming. Quite pricey though. The device that really is on the top of my list for anyone looking to play retro systems such as NES, SNES, Game Boy even, I know you're going to get bezels and all that, but this, the RG476H, is going to be probably the unsung hero of 2025. What a lovely device, a lovely large 4x3-inch screen, a decent processor on you to play all your retro games, and coming in at a decent price. But I must not discount Retroid, so they have now moved the joystick up to the top on the Retroid Pocket 6, which is the replacement of this Retroid Pocket 5, but they do still have the Classic in their lineup, the Retroid Pocket Classic, which just has this lovely screen, which if you play your NES and SNES in the controversial 8x7 aspect ratio, this is going to be perfect for that. And This is the Retroid Pocket Mini V1, but the V2 has got the same screen as the classic, same story. You can play your NES and your SNES at 8x7 and have a really lovely horizontal retro gaming handheld. So, should you buy the Retroid Pocket 6? Obviously, there's a lot to factor in here. Budget, likes and dislikes, screen size preferences, there's a lot to choose from here. Are you a D-pad centric fan? Are you pissed off like me that they moved the D-pad to the bottom? If you're the sort of person who enjoys streaming your PC or Xbox games to a handheld and you don't want something too obnoxious like say the AYN Portal, which is a huge 7-inch device, but you're also an emulation nerd and don't mind the 16:9 screen for this, like here you've got these huge bezels on the Retroid Pocket 5, then the Retroid Pocket 6 will still be the top pick for people like you. I've always disliked playing my NES and SNES games on a 16:9 screen with these bezels, but it is a very happy medium and an all-rounder for if you are into streaming games to your device and then you still want to play your Retroid games. In fact, I changed my mind. I like the joystick up top for the Retroid Pocket 6.